Welcome to your Joyful Riches podcast, where you gain precious tips for easily ignite your full spectrum wealthy life. Join us every Saturday at 8:30 a.m. Pacific with your friends and families because we all want and deserve to be wealthy, healthy, and happy. This podcast is powered by Anchor FM by Spotify. Anchor FM is this super awesome free podcast made easy platform. And for this week, joining us, G100 Global Networking and your host, Dr. Birgit Tan, is our amazing, wonderful, beautiful guest, Shireen. And Shireen, would you care to share with us what it is that you do?
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for having me. It's so nice to be here. Yes, what I do is I'm a feminine and a mental fitness coach.
A feminine and mental fitness coach. I hear a lot of different coaches and specialty, but I would say that is quite a unique thing. Tell us? Would you care to tell us what is a mental fitness, a feminine mental fitness, and what brings you into doing what you do?
Ah, wow, it's been a journey. It's been a journey. I have always, throughout my whole career, worked with women mainly. Background was a nurse, and I did midwifery, and then I spent a lot of my time working, helping women become birth fit. But part of the key aspect of that was really working on their mental state. So I was really interested in how they needed to deal with their beliefs so that they could have a good birth. A lot of the time they were not that ready for the mental stuff, but that was really my love and that was really my wish. And so when I started to kind of evolve and move more into coaching, I started to get very involved in cognitive neuroscience, and I went to university as a 50-year-old woman, and I really loved it because it was kind of like the culmination of something I really enjoyed, and it made sense of everything that I do now. And so I then moved on even more because I kind of noticed I had imposter syndrome. And I realized that imposter syndrome is really, in a way, women displaced in a masculine world and adopting a masculine kind of attitude, right? We're not men, but we are adopting a lot of the challenges that men will use that they find absolutely great. I mean, men love competition. They love to go for things. They love to kind of be in those unstable places and take risks and things like that. And I was kind of more in there. I was like the tomboy. I always felt I was more of a boy than a girl. I mean, I always loved men. Don't get me wrong, I have a male partner, but I was always competing in a strange kind of way. And this is very common for women with imposter syndrome. But also what sits under that is that it's kind of out of sync with who we are, often as women, because we haven't learned to model the world and find a way that works for both of us. I started to really focus in on that and to really work out what goes on in a more of a feminine flow system and how to work those two together in a way. And then I started doing feminine empowerment through Claire Zammit. And from there, I started doing mental fitness. So trying to balance the two worlds has always been what my whole ethos has been about. How do I balance that masculine mind with that feminine mind so that I get that wholeness and that completeness so that I can use both direction and flow to work together, and away we go. So that is really what the feminine approach is to use more flow, and the masculine or male orientation is to use more structure. So how do we use structure and flow in a way that allows us to really move forward and activate from that deep sense of yearning that women need? So that was really what I experienced a lot of when I was in my sort of later on And then I started to think, well, how can I help other women find their way a little bit more differently from what, one of the things which was really interesting is that most of the women, when I would say slow down, they'd say, no, 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 I've got to go faster. I'm going to be left behind. All of these kinds of things. And but in actual fact, feminine time is different. It's a different time, a different approach. And, they're not wrong. They just are different. And you'll get there the same. It's about a different approach. So that kind of then helped me let go of a lot of things and start working more towards being in sync with my body and my body rhythms so that I could then achieve the goals that I want and help achieve their goals.
Oh, that is so beautiful. I love that, talking about creating a harmony between your masculine and your feminine energy. Now you don't sit back and do nothing, but you're not pushing all the time. And
Yeah.
that is something that can be challenging in this modern world, particularly in the Western world, where at least here in the US, and I think that also in a lot of Western world, where we value productivity. And we
Yeah.
think being productive is being go, 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 and run, 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 and you ran to exhaustion, and then you wonder why you burned out, break down, and not having the result. Well, still not having the result for some people, and that is beautiful that you discover in such a beautiful flow where you are you balancing, like you said, or being able to create the harmony. And so what from what you and from what you learn with your experience as well with your study for your I know you have a doctorate, right, in the fields. And so from your study, from your experience, is there some tips that you can share with us, with our audience, on how do you create that harmony? How do you create that balanced energy? And how do you let go the worry of if of I think it's the worry of people of not doing enough, really? Is there some tips that you have for that?
Yeah, it's such a concern, I think, for most people. And yeah, because we live in this kind of world, which, as you said, full of productivity is where we get our sense of value, which unfortunately isn't who we are. It's just what we do. But we make what we do who we are. And that is just a disaster waiting to happen, because we're always going to be in transformations or transitions. And when something goes away, it means that we have to know ourselves first. We have to be able to know who we are and give value to ourselves, because who we are means we can do whatever we want, right? But if we are what we do, means that when something gets taken away, we feel we have no value. We feel worthless. We feel hopeless and helpless. And so, yeah, it's really about being aware of, am I doing this because it's me wanting me to be in this space, or is this something that's driving me, that's kind of really pushing me to a place where I'm feeling, this go, go, go. I'm feeling the pressure. I'm feeling those kinds of things. So I think the tip really is to probably to understand something, and I'm going to go for a little bit into biology here. Most women, we have, unless we have really grown up being very much building muscles, we will, because of our hormones, give us a softer body, right? Our hormones fluctuate every month. So we are always in this kind of labile stuff. So we don't have this constant push in the same way that someone that, men that have testosterone do, because they have this regular testosterone that's there all the time, and it's in that backdrop. But for women, that isn't the case. So we are always in this kind of ebb and flow kind of thing, which means that we are very much connected to our body. So when we don't pay attention to our body, it hurts us. It hurts us. When we don't go in the flow of our body, it hurts us. And I'm moving more back to something that I really realized I came here on this earth to do, which was to help women have a new kind of consciousness about birth. I wanted to put in a new conversation about how we do birth, how we do pregnancy, how we do mothering. Because I think we can preach all along, but somewhere something intrinsic's got to change in the bigger, wider world. We've got to change this conversation about what's going on. But what really is, in the Western world, a lot of women really have difficult births. The cesarean section is quite high now, almost 50% here in the UK. I mean, seriously. And a lot of this is because women are so tight, that when they finally get to their time where they have a few weeks before they have their baby, and they try and push it to the very last edge, they're not ready because they're so busy nesting. They're still not ready. And so there's a higher chance of cesarean section, a higher chance of labor being delayed, a higher chance of a bigger baby, a higher chance of tearing, all of these things, and a higher chance of postnatal depression. So for me, when we're not in sync with our body, we're not actually letting our body do its flowing through itself. And I really truly believe that as a woman, this is what we really have to understand. The way our hormones are connected to us means everything is in our body. We are so embodied. So we need to be in it. And so when we're busy thriving, we're often outside our body. We're not habitating our body. And that means we can't get the messages that come from our body. So I think the first lesson, or the first suggestion, or the first thing is, just stop and just be aware of your body. Be aware of where you are from the inside out. Know where your skin feels, literally feel in your body, because women are so conditioned to take care of everybody else. Even if we're the most high power women, we are often still brought up in the paradigm that we have to take care. And women are treated differently to men when it comes to, say, a man doing a murder and a woman doing a murder. Women are actually penalized more. And the reason is because the expectation is women would not kill anybody. And I agree, they mustn't. But the thing is, they are penalized more. If a child is angry about a mother walking out, they will penalize her more than they'll penalize the father. Because somehow there's an expectation that men might walk out. Mm-hmm. But your mother, oh my God, she can never walk out. So there's these kind of undercurrents that sit in society that cause women to be locked into a kind of bind. And we need to change that conversation. We need to change the conversation that allows women to go and explore and be in every field of life, but know their body so that they can be aware how to use their body as I always talk about, like a river that flows. Use the bank to catapult you back, to shift you back into gear so that you can sort of do this. Because maybe going straight forward isn't really the natural way for women. There are no natural things in life. If you look at nature, only humans create a straight line, generally. There are a couple of cracks that do that. But the thing is, in general, it's abnormal. Most things are curly-whirly. And really, that's because we go with flow. We go with activation. So really, it's about paying attention to going inside and feeling what it is that you really want. What do you want? You know, what excites you? What makes you happy? And when you're talking about yours, about joyful, life. Joy is happiness. It's that excitement, isn't it, of something moving forward. So yeah, go inside, listen to the activation, and then see is where it's coming from. Does it feel true? Does it feel true? Is there any in it? And if it feels, yes, peaceful, go with that. Go with that. That's your choice. Anything that feels, yes, go with that. Because that's the truth. If you're going, no ways, because there's something, maybe a very big wise part of you that's saying, no, 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 no.
That is beautiful. I love that. Listen, slow down, and actually listen to your body, and because our body know. And
Yeah.
I love how you said it that way, because it's one of those things. As I have in my book, you have the book, the in Seeking Peace, I mentioned that, and it's actually something I teach a lot of clients. When through a certain part of navigating through grief, they're like, "Oh my God, I just want to scream, I just want to cry," and usually some point they can't stop crying, and I'm like, allow your body, allow the cry. It's if your body know, we have three different types of tears, and your body know when you need to cry. Allow yourself to cry. You feel so much better. But like you said, we so conform in this world to be doing this and that and this and that, and so much in our head, and not listening to our body and our natures, which, as you said, it's kind of like different, and it's a flow, and it's in a man world, so it's everything created to fit men, while we operate as women operate very differently. It's meant to be different, our biology. I love what you say, our biology different. And so now, what would you say if somebody says, okay, well, I got it, I'm going to listen, and I do notice there is something in me that tells me to do something differently, to slow down, or to do something differently. But how am I gonna do that? I just don't have the ability, the nerve, the guts. I mean, how would I stop?
Yeah.
And so, what's your tips on that?
Yeah. I think it's really important, and maybe what people don't understand is, when we have lived a life in a particular way, our brain has created certain patterns, right? So what means is that we're activating a lot of an area in our brain that may be fear driven or anxiety driven or any of those things. So we've kind of hotwired to that, right? And those connections are very strong. And what that means is that the connections to the other part of our brain that is very wise, or knows how to integrate information in a way that we can get wisdom and sense out of it, that kind of gets turned offline, right? So what happens is, when we're in those patterns, as you say, that we have them, so when we stop, if we haven't trained ourselves to actually listen and learn and be able to halt that voice, that negative voice that's driving us, because most unhelpful behaviors are all negative. They're all what we would call our inner bitch, as a woman, inner bitch, definitely, or witch, or an imposter glitch. I call it the imposter glitch because that is taken on the persona that's not you, right? Because you are the essence of the creator, whatever the creator is, right? You are that essence. So, and really, when we feel something, this is just our essence telling us that this voice is telling us a lie, right? It's telling us a lie. If it's not something, and sometimes we have to decipher that. We have to know, is this wisdom talking, or is this a saboteur talking?
Mhm.
And the only way we can know that is we have to go inside and we have to feel what it feels like. When it feels icky, really icky, then that's probably 99% that's going to be that bitch. Yeah, it's going to be that saboteur. When it feels peaceful, when it feels, yeah, this is going to be hard. Well, this is not nice. I know you don't want to do this. I understand this. When you hear the reason being given to you, yeah, when you get a sense that there's something bigger, that's the voice that is wisdom, right? And when you're able to stop enough, you can hear that. But your brain needs training, right? Because so many of the neural connections are going in one direction. So we have to slowly teach ourselves to listen. And a really great way to do that is just to put your hand on your heart and to just breathe and just pay attention to your heart, or to just blow, lick your thumb and just blow. And what that does is it slows time down enough so that you can just get a little bit of control. Enough control to make a different decision, should you choose. Yeah, should you choose. And that is really the key, is you've got to do these little moments, moment by moment by moment. When something comes on, you take that deep breath. When something happens, you have to initially start by just training your body, because you don't know yet how to deal with the saboteur, because just blocking it doesn't always help. But what it does mean is, if you've built enough mental muscle, it means that you have the opportunity then to really explore it in a different way. I call it a higher order thinking way. And you're able to work with the emotion that is driving that. Yeah.
Oh, that is wonderful. I love that, how you, it's kind of like, slow down, listen to the wisdom versus the witch inside of you.
Yes.
And witch, and if you slow down well enough, you'll know that the wisdom's there and be able to guide you, even if it seems like unfamiliar or scary. And I love how you share, sometimes it is very true, certain physical things. It's a lot of that we teach, it's a little bit aligned there. I always say, put your hand in where you feel your heart is, and that alone
Yeah.
can help you slow down. And actually, I mean, humans are social animal. Even if you are introvert and you don't like socializing, social animal. And so it's like slow down. And when you were saying, so like blow on your thumb, it's just make me think about kids. Kids there, and they love sucking their thumb, and we all adult usually yell at them and say, stop sucking your thumbs. And so there might be a reasons, and allow yourself to go back to your inner child by reminding it by blowing at your thumb, in that way. That is just so beautiful. What so much wisdom, Shireen. Thank you so much. How do people connect with you if they want to know more about what you do and how to discover this?
Yeah. I am on LinkedIn. My website's currently changing because we're moving a little bit of the way imposter syndrome to pregnancy, and we're kind of looking at that new conversation now. So that's going to take a little while, but I am on Facebook. I have a Facebook group, and I can also keep in contact via email, mail shot. So, if you join up for a newsletter, you'll get regular talks about that.
Super. So you can find Shireen on LinkedIn, on Facebook. There is a Facebook group and also a newsletter. So it's
Yeah.
humor. It's something that being able to live in harmony with nature and with our own body is something that crucial in creating a thriving, joyful, full spectrum rich life. So reach out to
Yeah.
Shivins and connect with her and see how you can create more harmony in your life and doing that with more ease the way you see Shirin sharing here. Do you have a final message for our audience?
Yeah, I think I'll always go with the idea, which is, Victor Hugo always talks about, between the stimulus and the response, there is a space. And it's in that space where we become the creator of all that is and all that we shall be. And I truly, truly believe that, our body created the possibility for that space, that startle response. Because before anything, fright, flight, freeze, whatever it is, we have this first startle response. And if we're able to expand that startle response, if we can just expand time, just enough, if we get good at just expanding time, just enough, we change. We change, because the moment we just stop, the moment we give ourselves time to recognize that we've stopped, it tells the brain, I gotcha. It tells the brain, I've gotcha. And the brain says, okay, I'm going to do what you ask me, right? So the next command that you give yourself, the brain will go and look for all the resources that it can find to help you. So it's, that's where we become the creator and the creation. And, what does that mean? When we think about create, it's just really react with an E. We're putting energy, so we're going towards it, giving it energy, love, whatever that energy is, and we are now creating what it is that we want.
That is beautiful. Then slow down, and actually you're able to control your mind so it doesn't run off. Because sometimes, how many of us has noticed we sit there and have like our mind running to five different directions that many times thinking things we don't want to happen. So slow down so you can actually control your mind to things that and direct it. Really, you're talking about directing your mind and creating the result that you want that way. That is beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much for
Pleasure.
your wisdom and beautiful tips. And thank you again, Shirin. Thank you for sharing your tips today. And for you, my friends who are listening to this, please share one or two gold nuggets in the comment so we can continue learning from each other. And thank you for joining us. Please share this podcast with your friends and family so they too can triumph. And we live in a beautiful harmony that creates an even better result. And this is Dr. Birgit Tan, your grief transformation specialist for individuals and businesses, founder of the International Childhood Cancer Charity, United States country chair for the G100 Global Networking's All Ladies League. And you make it a beautiful, harmonious day and a beautiful, thriving life. And join us again next week on Saturday at 8:30 a.m. Pacific.